What's up guys, this is G with Test Bros, and today we are going to do a review for the Cybertruck after about 16,000 miles. So if you're a dad, a do-yourselfer, or just love trucks, maybe this review is for you. Let's get started on the exterior. So I think a lot of people ask, how does a stainless steel actually hold in the weather and all that stuff? This car's been wrapped more than any other Cybertruck in the world. I'm 100% certain about it because this is our R&D truck, so we do a lot of things with it. Also, my daughter loves or does not allow me to drive this without googly eyes. So we have been putting googly eyes and different types of googly eyes for a long time. So if you do something like this though, just a heads up, you want to be careful. It might weather it a little bit, so be careful of that. You could clean it, but it wasn't too big of a concern. But I think if you're asking about how the stainless steel holds, really good, and it's a very different type of structure, right? Because if you look at the car behind me, this is a normal car, and most cars will have, obviously the paint, and over that there will be a clear coat and metal underneath, right? In this case, this is just bare metal. This is stainless steel, it goes right here. But one thing to note is that it does actually chip, just so you know, right? So especially this, it's so flat and parallel to the road that, let me see if I could find some chips here and there. Sorry, it's really dirty. We probably should have cleaned it before we did this video, but it's okay. But it does actually chip, not that bad, but I think it's supposed to weather. I mean, this is a work truck, you're supposed to take it out and do fun stuff with it, so it's really not a concern, but it does chip. As far as keeping it clean, very hard, especially if you're someone that's very particular about keeping a really clean car. Very hard to keep clean unless it's wrapped. Wrap makes it so much easier, whether it's vinyl or PPF, honestly. It makes it far easier. So if you're thinking about buying this, even if you like the stainless steel, I would highly recommend at least I would put matte PPF. It kind of keeps the natural look of the stainless steel. Mutes it a little bit, but also makes it a lot easier to clean. Also adds hydrophobicity to it, and so on. So it's a lot easier to clean compared to the stainless steel here. As far as the trims right here, we don't have anything wrapped or anything, but if you were getting this and you do look like a clean car, I would highly recommend doing like a trim ceramic coating. It does get weathered pretty quickly right here. You can see right here. I don't mud with this car a lot or anything like that. However, I do have a driveway that there is a lot of mud, so you can see all this massive dirt just everywhere piling up and so on. So if you do want to keep this a lot darker and more, I guess this is more like grayed out a little bit, you definitely want to coat this as well. So that's really the big part of the exterior. Let's go to the other side, and the other side is actually wrapped, and this is actually Gen 1 of our X-ray wrap that we ever done. So it's not even a production model, but we kept it because we wanted to actually test how the wrap is going to remove after 6 months or so. Like, we've literally had this on for 6 months. So this is going to be another video, but you can see, I mean, it looks cleaner definitely from the compared to the stainless steel side, and you could kind of clean it a lot easier. So I definitely recommend putting a wrap. Couple concerns, after 16,000 miles that I had on this truck is like, I luckily did not have a whole lot. I went service, there was an issue with the rear motor. That was one thing, and I would be fully transparent, but they were able to fix it fairly quickly. I didn't really have any issues. Some people have issues with the pillar kind of popping out, but if it's a little loose, there actually is an 8mm down there that you could tie in as well. So let's go to the back now. We did use this car like a truck. So it looks like this. So it does look like this if you actually do truck stuff with it. So if you were wanting this to stay really clean, I would highly recommend putting a mat. But if you're gonna do anything like, hauling stuff with it, it works really well actually. And I love the fact that there's a 240 here. I absolutely love this cooler that's here. It's been really great for camping and kind of keeping things cool. And also it doesn't move around, right? This is such a big space that, like groceries and stuff, I like using either the Frunk, or if it's a lot of stuff, or this little area. And this also has a drain hole at the bottom, which is really nice. I love this thing too. This is actually a flag holder, but you can get 4 of them, and you could put a little board, and you could have a little bit more storage as well. So a lot of cool things that people do in the truck so far. Absolutely love it. And I haven't had any issue with this. One thing about this is some people say it's waterproof, some people say it's not. I would say it veers more in the waterproof area, but I mean, if it was heavily downpouring, right here, this seal, the way that it works is that this is just like a little rubber seal right here. So you can see you can go all the way inside right there. So you're gonna have a little bit of leak either in the front or the back or the front. So just keep that in mind. Like if you have something that's very, very not water resistant, I wouldn't put it back here. I would just put it in the back seat. So let's kind of come around. One of the things that we started doing is I actually finally got my wheel covers. I got a notice a couple months ago, but I finally picked it up almost a year into it. So we're gonna do another video on that one. But in the meantime, this is a cover that we put. It makes it a lot cleaner. But I would highly recommend also adding mud flaps here. So this has been really helpful because of how dirty that area gets and so on. You can see the stainless steel looks pretty good. It's slightly weathered, but there's not really an issue. It's held up really, really well. I think it's hard to keep clean. However, it doesn't, you know, it's very, very different from a traditional car, right? So you can wash it, you can barkeeper it, right? And if you want to learn how to really keep it pristine, Out of Spec Detailing, Colton has a video on how to do that with barkeepers and Windex and, you know, his products and so on. So I would highly recommend watching that video. This was a foundation model because we picked it up last May or April, I forget. But this glass right here, one thing that I want to talk about was there's a pretty big pillar, and the angle of it is very unique, right? So it's kind of a blind spot, so when you're driving, you really want to watch out for that. So I've kind of learned to work around that, but there is a sensor that goes red if there's another car, so I highly recommend doing that. And I never, ever, ever use the rear mirror, right? I actually took it off day one. So I always use the camera, and you could kind of, and we'll talk about that in the interior. One thing also is that this is very interesting because most windshield wipers are 2 and it goes like this, right? This one's a giant, I don't know, 48-inch wiper. At high speeds, at least for mine, it was a little bit rattly, but then I believe there was a small recall for it. I don't know if they changed it, but it does rattle just a tiny bit. That's just something I noticed, but surprisingly, it does work really, really well, right? So there was a small crack when I first bought this. They replaced it, and I think it's been better since. But overall, you know, going back to the original question, the car is really awesome. I mean, it's pretty easy to take care of. If you're someone that wants to keep it pristine, I think you're gonna have a hard time unless it's wrapped. But it is a truck, and it is supposed to be doing truck stuff. So it's been really, really fun. So let's go in the inside and we can talk a little bit more about it. We'll start from the back side because if you have kids, you're probably asking, is this a good travel car? So my kid is 3 years old, and if you have a 3-year-old, when you're traveling, you really want to just, you don't want to go like all the way. You do want to stop every now and then, have them stretch their legs. So the charging does take a lot longer than if you were traveling with something like a Model 3, right? So I think a Model 3, you'd probably stop 15 to 25 minutes at a time. If you're really doing it, you're going to be stopping like 30 to 45 minutes at a time. So if that's the problem for you, this might not be your travel car that you want, but it is much more comfortable, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, about our family travels. So in the back, we actually have our car seat over here, but we do have a dog, a decent sized dog. It's a medium sized dog, about, I would say 55 pounds. Look at that, that's a lot of hair. We need to clean that. We do have a pet liner, but we actually don't want the pet to be on this seat because we don't want it damaged, right? So we actually just put the dog right here. We put a dog bed right here, and it's been really great. And then the kid is right over here. It's very, very spacious. There's a lot of room. Even when this is down, you can actually put stuff underneath it. And then it's a very high ceiling as well. And this roof has never been an issue for our kids. We actually did not tint this as well. So it's been really, really good for travels. And of course, you know, I don't know. I know we try not to do a lot of like screen time, but man, when you're traveling 5, 6, 7 hours, that screen is a lifesaver. The other thing that's really cool is there's actually a little cup holder right here. So my 3-year-old uses that for snacks, and I really like how there's a table right here. So we kind of set it up right here. If we have the space and we don't have a dog, then we can just set it up right there. So once we go in the inside, the Squircle, I know a lot of people are saying I would never drive a Squircle. You get used to it. It's actually a lot easier to use. I like it better than the yoke that was on the Model S and the Model X. I think this is a really good medium between the two, and it's actually a lot more comfortable than I thought. And then things like this, we actually also have a Model 3 Highland, so this didn't take much to get used to, and you know, the swiping on the screen, no issues at all. One thing I really like about the Cybertruck is this empty space is actually awesome. When you're traveling and stuff, especially as a parent, you're gonna have snacks, you're gonna have stuff, your wife might want to knit or something like that, and this is actually a very, very good space to put all those activity-based and snack stuff right here. I know you could put like a center console or something like that, but I actually like that to be the negative space so you can put stuff there. Other than that, I mean, the interior is actually a lot more comfortable than I anticipated, and just context is prior to this, we obviously own a lot of Teslas, but you know, mostly it was sedan. We did have a Model X prior to it. This feels, and I think is, far bigger. And I think it feels a lot bigger because of the front windshield. It's similar to an X, so if you're coming from an X, it's not as big of a drastic difference. If you're coming from a 3, it's a massive difference of how wide and vast it looks compared to that. So I really like it. I love the space for travel and for long distances, despite the fact that it does take a little bit longer. And I would say the sound quality on this is pretty great. I like it. I'm not an audio expert, but I certainly like it, and it feels really, really good inside listening to tunes. One thing that was a little bit annoying for passengers is that the positioning of the window is like right where people want to put their elbow. So literally everybody that sits there, they put their hand down and then the window goes down. So I've kind of already had it set up in the interior or in the settings where I just child lock both and lock window for both sides so that the kid and then also all passengers can't. So that's one thing that's kind of funny. It's like, it's just in an awkward position. Maybe if they moved it just a little bit front or something like that, maybe that would have helped. But overall, this car has held up really well from the interior standpoint. And you know, after 16,000 miles, I certainly like it. First electric truck. And actually first truck in general, so I like it a lot more than I thought. So let's go outside. So overall, I'm actually going to open up the Frunk real quick and show you. And one feedback I have, if someone in Tesla is watching this, is, or maybe we can come up with an accessory, is I wish it has grocery hooks. So the Model 3, the newer ones, have a grocery hook, which has been really, really useful. So if they had just hooks right here, or somewhere around here, that would be awesome. We buy a lot of watermelons, so it rolls around a lot. So that's an issue. But the Frunk has been awesome. I love using it for grocery. You're supposed to be able to sit here, and I guess that's what Cybertruck owners do. Overall, maintenance-wise, like I said, we did have a flat tire yesterday, but that was just, we're kind of in an industrial area, so there's a lot of stuff on the ground. I was able to patch that, but my my tires are probably gonna last a little bit over 20,000, and that all depends on where you are. I had a rear motor issue that Tesla resolved really quickly, and then the other thing is I had a giant recall from the pedal, right? I'm just kidding, but they just added a little anchor on the pedal. But other than that, that was pretty much it that I had issues with. Pretty minor, and it's been a really good ownership for 16,000 miles and hopefully 16,000 more. If you enjoy this video, let us know. If you have any questions and you want to hear more about certain parts of the Cybertruck, let us know in the comments below and we'll do a walkthrough on that. And it's been fun, and hopefully it'll be even more fun. So we'll see you in the next video.